You know, my mom always told me, if you had nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But before we go ahead and get into that, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share our content. Hopefully, whoever looks at it, will be way better off after they look at my video than before they looked at the video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So my mom always used to tell me that if you had nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. And I'm sure we have heard the saying over and over and over again. But yet and still, we still have bad things to say about people. I always got something bad to say about people because it's not that I'm telling a lie on them, but honestly, I'm telling more of the truth. And one of the truths that I want to tell you about is the fact that I have not told my son the truth about how he came to be in my custody. Man, something in my eye. But I haven't told my son the truth about how he became in my custody. And the reason why I haven't told him the truth is because as many times as I tried to bring myself to tell him the truth, I found myself a little tongue-tied because the truth could scar him. The truth could make him look at his mother differently. And based on previous conversations that I've had with him, it doesn't look like he's willing to know the truth. And I'm gonna walk you through some of the things that I've done to try to tell him the truth about what occurred and how he ended up in my custody. Now, I did go through child support court in order to gain custody of my son. I did file motions. I did use contracts that she signed in order to win my case. And I have discussed this in previous shows about how contracts can be used, the power of contracts that can be used for custody as well as just filing motions. And I even talked about my first time going through the child support system. Now, a little bit of backstory about me is that I have not only worked in the court system, but I also went through the court system. So I know what it looks like for a person to have to go through the court system on the back end so far as filing motions, filing cases, and going through that. And I had help from a lot of great people and mentors that have mentored me throughout my tenure of working at the courthouse. But I also have been that type of person that has been in front of the judge, nervous, scared, scarred, don't know what's going on, had looked at other people's situations and cases and realized that this could be the same type of judge that's going to judge on my case the same way she had judged or he has judged on the previous case that was just heard. And been sitting in those courthouse seats, shaking my foot, nervous of the outcome, trying to determine whether or not I need an attorney or not, and not knowing what was going to happen. Now, granted, this was 15, 16 years ago, and the landscape has changed tremendously. But there's going to be more time to tell that story. So, you already know the story if you have looked at the video of how I got custody of my son. That was only part one. There's still more parts to come. But when it comes to telling my son the truth about his mother and some of the things that we had to go through and what she had did to him while growing up, not being there, living in a shelter, and how I got custody of him, he doesn't want to hear it. Even producing the transcripts or producing the court paperwork, the documentation, the court order that shows him what I had to go through in order to get custody of him so he can have a great life, so he can be able to walk across the stage at graduation, so he can be able to graduate and he can live well. And it was instances during his life where when he would go visit his mother, he had to face bed bugs and everything. And, dealing with that is very traumatic on so many levels. Not only for a young man, but also a father not only trying to protect him from this kind of trauma, but also trying to protect my household from being infested, from my household from being destroyed or damaged or any kind of way. But how do you have that conversation with a person or with a child that wants their parent in their life, that wants to see them in this glowing light, that wants to see them in this particular image that is sacred to them? And I don't want to badmouth her in any kind of way. I don't want to talk bad about her. I don't want to do any of that. But I want my son to understand that no matter who you're dealing with, somebody is always going to try to use you or try to get over on you. And it's best to be aware of those particular things that occur when somebody is trying to get over. Now, my mom always told me that I shouldn't talk bad about her in front of my child or in front of my son. And not talk and bad mouthing her, what basically, if she infuriates me in a particular way, then I'm just calling her all kind of names and talking about how bad of a parent she is and everything. And we all been there. And that's one of the things that I try to avoid, which is talking bad about her in front of my son. Now, have I slipped up? Yes, I am not perfect. Beyond perfect, I have flaws all day long. But I did try to refrain in many cases from talking bad about her, from the things that she did. Instances. One instance comes to mind. My son was about 4 or 5 years old, and he was acting up in school. So I put him on punishment, and I said, you cannot watch TV. This is your punishment. So he goes over to his mom's house, and I tell her about the punishment. I said, look, he's on punishment over here. We should be on the same page, and he should be on punishment over there, so he shouldn't be able to watch TV. 2 days later, he comes home, and he tells me in this exact voice, guess what, Dad? I'm like, what? I watch TV. My mom said I wasn't on punishment at her house. Oh, I almost hit him with the belt. I almost hit him with my shoe. Matter of fact, I almost backhand him, to be honest with you. Because he called himself being slick and smart. He should have just shut up and just didn't say anything at all. But he wanted to be a smart ass, so he decided he wanted to say something. So that's fine. Let him be a little smart ass. That's fine. That's cool with me. So since he was being a smart ass, this is what I did. I called his mom and I said, hey, this is what I did. I called her. Don't mind my ashy hands. I called her and I'm like, what's up? Like, I thought we was in agreement. She was like, no, I never agreed to that. Like, he in punishment at your house. He's not on punishment at my house. This is what I realized. Actually, I realized before this, but this is when it became apparent that we're not on the same page when it comes to parenting. Because you wanted to be the fun parent. You wanted to be that parent that states that regardless of what the disciplinary is over there, there is no disciplinary over here. And you know what? And that was fine. And I realized at that point in time that I wasn't going to be the fun parent because I had to maintain structure in order for him to get to where he needed to go. I had to give him the structure and disciplinary not disciplinary action and discipline that I didn't get when I was a kid in order to stay that path and stay that line. So I had to do that for him because clearly the other person wasn't doing that. And did I want to tell him that, I should whoop your ass for saying that? I did. Did I want to tell him, you know what? Your mom's stupid for letting you do that. Did I want to say that? I did. But how would that look on me by saying all of that bad stuff to him? And it's not his fault. He don't understand. We try to put kids in grown-up spaces or grown-up mindsets, and they don't really understand why we're seeing what we're seeing, because they don't see it. Even to this day, my son is still blinded by what his mother appears to be, because in my mind, or from, not even in my mind, but from the conversations that I've heard and have had with him, he wants to paint her as the pinnacle of all mothers. She's a great mother. It doesn't matter that she took him from my custody and put him in a shelter. It doesn't matter that she had him sleeping with bed bugs. It doesn't matter that she wasn't around for umpteen years. None of that stuff actually matters to him. The only thing that matters to him is the fact that his mom is around. And me bad-mouthing her is not gonna put me in the best light. The only thing that I can do is make sure that he succeeds in life. That is it. And as long as I can make sure that he succeeds in life, then I've done everything that I can do for him. And that's all that matters. Bad-mouthing her, that's not gonna do me any justice, even if I stuck to the facts. I can tell him the facts all day long. I can show him the paperwork in black and white. I can do all of this stuff. It will not matter, because to him, that's who the person that's his mom. I've had so I asked him, I told him, I said, it would be good for you to be able to just know the situation. Know that, your mom is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I've never lied to my son. I've told him the truth day in, day out. And I told him I would never lie to you. You ask me a question, I'll give you the answer. There's no need to shy away from the truth, because what happens is when you share the truth with your kids and you're honest and upfront with them, and I'm not saying about everything, but at least honest up front about some things, it at least gives them an idea of how they can approach life or how to deal with certain things. And that's one of the things that I want my son to gather from our conversations and gather from our Q&As, is when he asks me a question and I give him an answer, I'm trying to give him the best response that I can give him based on the experiences that I've had. And because my grandma did the same thing to me. My grandma gave me real life experiences to go along with situations that I was in. And it was so beneficial because I was able to recognize those same situations later on in life, where I was able to learn how to maneuver through those situations once either I got into them or I seen them coming towards me. So it made it so much easier to just kind of navigate those situations. And that's the same kind of position that I want to put my son to be in. I want you to learn from my experiences, live vicariously through me, learn from my situations and go further. And that's the best thing that I can give him at this point in time, because I don't want him to have a kid at 21 like me and his mom. I don't want him to get a GED or fail out of school. No, I want him to go and pursue something right out of high school. That way that he can be ahead of the pack going forward into adulthood. And that's one of the best gifts that we can go ahead and give our kids. But don't stick it to it. When we're talking about facts, I can give my son facts all day long. The problem is that if I'm giving facts and the other person is telling lies, who is really telling the truth? Because a person's lie can be their truth. They can tell a lie so many times that they'll end up believing that it's a truth. And it's really not a truth. It's a lie. But then when we're talking about he say, she say stuff, what he said, what she said, what I said, what they said, it kind of gets mucky on what's the truth unless you can see it on black and white, unless you can see it on video, unless you can see it, you can prove it some kind of way. It's gonna be difficult to tell which is which. Now, what I mean by a lie can be a person's truth, under her impression, under her thought process, under her everything, she believes that she let him come with me. Now, if you watch my first court story, you will realize that she didn't let him come with me. What happened is that she allowed him to come with me as long as I paid her $100 a month. That was the agreement. So I had to pay you $100 a month just to make sure that my son had a future, had a lifestyle. And then this person believes this lie and doesn't share the truth, because if I share this truth, because I have the documentation, if I share this truth with my son and say, son, your mother allowed you to come with me at a young age because I wanted to be the primary parent. She took you to a shelter and she wanted me to pay $100 a month in order for you to come with me. She used you to get to a better shelter. These are the truths. These can be found on documentation. They're in black and white. Plain as day, right? The problem here is that he doesn't want to believe the truth. He believes that, oh, well, she let me go with him because it was best for me. No, she let you go with me because there was a financial benefit that benefited her. That's the reason. But I can't tell him this truth, because if I tell him this truth, he's not gonna believe it. I even went ahead and printed out the court documentation just to show him. He don't want to see it. It's been sitting in my closet for about 3 years now. The contract, all that stuff. He doesn't want to view it because he has explained to me that he would like to keep the same perception that he has of his mom, and he doesn't want it to change, which I respect it. It is fine. But when you don't know those truths and you believe and you live in those lies, at some point in time, the truth is going to come out. You know, everything comes to light at some point in time. And as long as this person continues to lie and manipulate the truth and everything, it's not gonna bode well for anybody. Just tell the truth. It is what it is. I'm not sitting here trying to tell him the truth to belittle her or put her in any kind of space, or it's not nothing like that. Basically, what it is making sure my son understand that, you know, even if he was end up in the same situation that I was in and got a girl pregnant, he wanted to be the primary custody person or whatever, that he can do that, and in doing that, he could be the type of person that provides for his child and give them the best future as possible. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't do it and it doesn't happen, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like he needs to know the truth. And I want to tell him the truth, but I don't think he's gonna listen. I don't think he really too much cares about the truth. And it's something that I just have to rest with. There's no need for him to know the truth. There's no care in the world about it. And yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't want to be the bad guy of the situation because I want him to have a well-rounded understanding of who his parent, who his mother is. You know, he has an understanding of my past, my background, what I had to go through, the different business ventures that I started. You know, even a podcast, he's the producer of the podcast. Even when I did the animation was to help him read better. So he was reading scripts that improved his readability when he went to school. And a few other things. Even when I had my publishing company, you know, and taking them through these different businesses and tasks and accomplishments that I went through, you know, graduating with my associate's degree, walking across the stage. He was a witness that. Graduating with my bachelor's degree and walking across the stage, you know, elevating up through the organization and going to different organizations, making more money, purchasing our first house together, you know, going through driver's training with him together, helping him start his own businesses together and building that history and getting that entrepreneurial mindset. So doing all of that stuff and putting all of that stuff together with him, all the while that she wasn't present, you know, it just made him more fonder of her, made him more excited for her and everything, which again is fine. But you know, the truths he know about me and, you know, the different relationships that I've had and some of the things that I had went through, abuse and everything, you know, I've shared that with him so he could understand and be able to recognize it and see it and not be that or be part of those type of situations. I think it's beneficial when, you know, we share our lives with our kids, because my grandma shared her life with mine, with me, and, you know, I had a real view of what it looks like and what it looked like to be, you know, black in America during those times. Even a little bit further back than that, you know, I learned so much about my grandfather through her experiences. And I want my son to know a lot about life through my experiences, not just through Instagram, not just through Facebook, not just through YouTube and video games and his friends. No, let me be that pillar. Let me be that example. Let me be the person that you look up to. And I am that experience that you want, that I want to be that experience for you. Live vicariously, you know, through me until you really just live on your own and be on your own. I mean, you're still gonna live vicariously through me. My job is still not done. You know, my son just graduated, or not just graduated, he graduated, and you know, my job is still not done. You know, I still have to be there for him. I still have to educate him. I still have to, you know, help him grow and still mold him. You know, even molding is gonna be a little bit harder now than it was, you know, 15 years ago. But, you know, still being that pillar, that pillar for him, and that corner that he can step into and know somebody's gonna have his back. So when it comes to having to tell your kid the truth, honestly, just don't. You know, if you want to, you know, I think it would be, you know, monumental. But even I think it should be their choice. You know, ask them, do they want to know the truth at a reasonable age, and just let it be their choice. And if they decide that they would like to know the truth of, you know, where their father or their mother is at, you know, hopefully it's not something so unfortunate like a death or anything, then I think the conversation should be had and let it be their choice, so they'll be more open and willing to accept it versus trying to force feed it down their throat and they're not so willing to accept it. But I'm your host, MNG. Man, make sure you like, subscribe, share our content, check out some of our other videos. Hey, look, I'll see you on the next go around. Peace.